What's going on, Garrett?
Hey, how we doing today, Kevin? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Well, it's 1 o'clock and we have another power session today around mastering drawings. So some exciting stuff ahead to talk about for 15 minutes. Give everyone another 30 seconds here to get in and we'll kick it off.
Nice.
Well, cool. We get started. Pretty straightforward to end the drawings. Why don't we start with kind of how to access the tool, upload drawings, and go from there. Then we can hit on markups.
Yeah. So the drawings is going to be part of the project management tools in ProNovos. So when you go into a project, the fourth one down on the navigation menu will be for drawings. And what you'll see is you'll have these different folders for drawings. So you can basically create as many different folders as you want for your drawings, however you want to organize them. Um, typically we'll see them organized either by type, or you can do it by ASI number or bulletin releases, whatever works best for you. But then when you actually go into a folder, what you're going to see is a breakdown of all the actual individual drawings. And you'll see it's actually breaking out by discipline as well. So when you go through the upload process, basically what ProNovos does is it utilizes a technology called OCR recognition, where basically we're scanning the PDF drawing and pulling out all of the relevant information from that. So when you're uploading drawings, you're not having to populate the sheet number, the name, or like the discipline here. We're going to recognize all that as we're doing that upload process. So when you upload a drawing, you can go in here, drop in the PDF file, give it a release description, give it at the release date, and then hit upload. And then depending on the size of the drawing file, it usually takes a couple of minutes for it to process it, go through, do that recognition to realize, pull out all those relevant details. But once that's complete, what you'll see is this review button here, and it will say, okay, this is now ready for you to review. You can click on it, and it's going to give you a overview of all of the different drawing sheets that had in the drawing set that you uploaded. So if you uploaded a PDF with 100 different sheets, it's going to go through and find all of the numbers, the description, and the discipline for each of those. And you can see on some of these, it may not be the cleanest PDF. So then therefore, it doesn't know what it is. So you can see here that the drawing number has a cloud around it. So it's able to recognize that. You can come in here and fix those on the fly. So as you're going through and uploading it, you can kind of make those adjustments. And then once you've kind of done that review, you can accept it, and it will basically publish all those drawings that you've accepted. So that's kind of what yeah, no, it's super straightforward. Like I said, it usually takes a couple minutes for it to process, but it's really easy to do it. And then once it's been uploaded, basically you can access the drawings by just pulling them up. And one thing that I really like about the drawing upload is it allows you to track revisions very easily. So I think this is something we see a lot in construction. You go out to a job site and you ask the superintendent to pull out their set of drawings. I don't think it's that uncommon that they pull out a raggedy set of paper sheets that are 6 months old. It's got coffee stains on it. It's duct taped together. And it's not even that it's like falling apart. It might be like, hey, these are no longer the most recent drawings. So it gives you a really easy way to access the most recent revision in for each project. And it
Yeah, I
also
like how these are right
preserves.
at the top that we can drill down on. Super easy to find.
Exactly. Yeah. And this way, like if you need to go back and look at prior versions, so you say, okay, we just got a new bulletin release. I need to go back and see how does this one compare to what we were working from previously? Because I got to price out a change order or whatever it might be. I can go back to that prior revision number. It's going to show me the date on it. So it really makes sure that not only are you working from the most recent, but you can go look at the prior versions as well. So if I go back and look at a previous version of it, I can not only look at it, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. So if I go back and look at a previous version, what it's going to tell me is it's, hey, you're not looking at the most current version of the drawing. So it makes sure that, hey, not only can you go back and do that comparison, but we want to make sure you don't make any mistakes, look at something that's out of date. So we call that out.
Excellent. Then, excuse me. I see we have a toolbar at the top here. Why don't we dive into markups a little bit and how to communicate changes and feedback?
Yeah, so the markups is another really powerful feature as part of this. And what you're going to see is a lot is some of the standard things you would expect to see on like a PDF markup, right? You know, hey, I can go in here, I can circle things, I can cloud it, I can add any comments. So real basic kind of markups like that. If you just kind of want to communicate something to your other team members or just for your own personal notes, you can do that in real time, and it's kind of preserved there. Couple of the things that I like that are very construction specific is you can actually link punch list items and RFIs to the drawing. So both of these are really powerful, right? Like, so let's say I've got an RFI. What we see a lot, right, is like if you're a superintendent and you're just going about your day-to-day business, chances are you're not like, oh, I got to remember every RFI that's ever come out on this project. Chances are you're just pulling up your
Right.
drawings and building from that. So if there's an RFI that's critical for the guys in the field to know, like, hey, you got to make sure that you're paying attention to this when you're installing XYZ. It's really useful to link that RFI directly to the detail in the drawing. So then in real time, they can kind of link to that RFI and see, okay, here's some clarifying detail that I need to do. So any RFI that you've got in ProNovos, you can link to any of the different drawing sheets or details that you have uploaded into the system.
Super easy. I love that.
Yeah, and then same idea with punch list, right? So it's basically with punch list, same idea. I can link punch list anywhere in the drawing. So we see this all the time that typically when you're doing that punch list walk at the end of the project with the architect, the engineer, typically you've just got the drawing sheet pulled up on your iPad and you're just adding punch list items in real time. And that's nice, right? Because typically when you're reviewing, you know, all of your punch list items at the end of the project, rather than kind of seeing just a long list of them, it's really nice to kind of be like, okay, I'm going to be working in, you know, this courtyard here. Let me see all the punch list items related to this courtyard. So you can kind of really focus on in terms of like, hey, this is kind of where I'm addressing the punch list items today. I can kind of focus in and see everything that needs to be fixed in this section of the project.
That's great. Is there maybe a tool in the bar that people may not be as familiar with that we could touch on?
Yeah, so I'll highlight the measure tool. I think this one's really handy. So what you can do is you can come in here and you can take kind of quick measurements on the drawing. And what you can actually do is change the scale for that measure tool. So I always like to say this one's it's a really powerful tool, but you got to be careful with it. Back in my project management days when I worked in the industry, something I was always told is never scale off your drawings if you need to get an exact measurement. So you know, you definitely don't want to be using this to kind of build off of, but if you need to do a quick takeoff, it's a really great tool. If you kind of just need to get a ballpark of what the dimension on something is on the fly, it's really great. And you can kind of take just linear measurements. You can do take areas, perimeter. So really flexible way to kind of get some quick measurements. And I think where we see this used the most is, like I said, if you need to do a takeoff of something on the drawing, this measure tool is really great for that purpose.
That's impressive. I like it. And we have the ability to print and download these. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if I go back to the landing page here, what I can do is I can kind of select anything that I want to download. And if I hit the download button, what I can choose here is which markups do I want to include? Do I just want to include the annotations, any notes that I may have made, anything that I've circled, highlighted, or do I want to include all of those RFIs and punch lists that are linked as well? Or do I just want the clean kind of drawing sheet and nothing? So it's a lot of flexibility where not only can you go in and select the individual sheets that you want to download, but then you can also kind of select the annotations that you can include as well.
Perfect. I like it. And I said we have some filters up there. We can kind of filter on disciplines and things of that nature.
Yeah, so you can kind of filter, say, all right, you know, I really don't want to look at the electrical, or I want to look at the most recent release to see kind of what's changed. So this is really handy is, let's say you've got a new ASI or a bulletin drawing release that comes out, you uploaded it, and now you need to go through and kind of see, okay, what were the changes in that bulletin that I need to price out? You can basically filter on that release. The other thing that's nice here is right now we're kind of looking in a list view. You can also look at it in this tile view here. So this tile view it gives you kind of a much easier way to kind of find maybe what you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for a specific detail, but you don't remember that, hey, it's on C 6.0, but you can like, oh, here's that detail there. You can kind of click in there and find it. So it's another way to kind of make it easier to navigate the drawings rather than just having to kind of toggle through the different sheets individually.
Great. So the people that, maybe use the drawings more than others, how do you see them successfully navigating and, helping, kind of bridge that gap between PMs in the field? What are they doing that maybe other people are not doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big thing, right? And I think that's what we see a lot when people come to ProNovos looking for a project management solution. It's really how do you improve that communication between the office and the field? And probably the most important thing, if you were to say, hey, what's the single most important thing that the office needs to make sure that the field has, is the most recent updated drawing sets. And we
Right.
know, it's superintendents, foremen, they're creatures of habit, that they like having their paper printouts. We're not saying that you need to get away from that. But like I said, that those have those obstacles because they're going to get beat up on the job site. It's going to be harder to make sure that they're up to date. Having this digital copy where the foreman or the superintendent can pull it up in real time on their iPad, that's really meaningful, right? Because that's something we see a lot too, is like, hey, maybe your set of drawings is back in the job box all the way by your trailer, but you're out on the middle of the job site and you want to kind of double check a detail. It's really handy being able to kind of pull up these drawings on your tablet in real time. So it really is just making about everything more accessible for the field and just making sure that you as a project manager are updating these as soon as you have new drawings that's available. Just, making sure they get uploaded into ProNovos and that they're available to the field as soon as you have them.
Perfect. Well, let's see. I have a couple minutes left here. Anything else you think we've maybe didn't touch on or skipped over that we'd like to bring up here?
No, I think we touched on most of it. Maybe we can spend the last minute or two if there's any questions, but I think we highlighted kind of all the critical items.
I guess one thing I forgot to mention when you're uploading, are there any file size restrictions, or is that I can upload whatever I want?
Yeah, so it's 400 megabytes. So I mean that's pretty sizable.
Yeah,
Maybe if you've got a drawing set that's like you're literally trying to upload all 1,000 sheets for the project, you'll kind of come up against it. But it's pretty rare that we see people run into that size limitation.
perfect. Thank you. Well, I guess can kind of open up for questions last minute or two here, and if not, we can wrap it up.
Thanks.
Leave the floor open if anyone wants to toss some in the chat and keep an eye out for it. Well, I don't think we got any questions, Kevin. So if you want to wrap it up, and we will move on to our next power session.
Sounds great.
Thanks for your time today, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate it.